Hey guys, welcome back. So we all know by now that NPS is a retirement product. You keep contributing money in it. It is market dependent. It will generate you returns so that at your retirement, you will be able to withdraw a lot of money and a lot of money will be used to generate monthly pension for you. But do you know what other scheme has these exact same features? It is EPF. And if you have a job, chances are you must already be covered in EPF. So EPF is not a voluntary scheme. However, NPS is. Yet you need to watch this comparison video. Why? Because the maximum pension that you can ever get via EPF is capped at 7,500 rupees per month. Now you tell me, if you were to retire today, would you be happy with 7,005 rupees as your monthly pension? I hope not. So you need to wonder, you need to ask this question, whether NPS can give you better returns, a big corpus and a better pension. And for that, I'll show you examples and I'll even teach you how you can calculate your own NPS pension. Also, there's a rumor going around that soon businesses will be able to switch to NPS and they can leave EPF. So if you were to leave EPF today, you should know everything there is to know about NPS. And you know me, I'm money-minded Mandeep, so I'm very much interested in finding out how much more pension can NPS generate. Before starting the comparison, you should know the basic structure of EPF. So the money that goes to your EPF account will further be distributed in 4 accounts. First account is EPF itself, Employees Provident Fund. The second account is Employees Pension Scheme. Third account is EDLI, that means Employees Deposit Linked Insurance. Yes, if you did not know already, now you know that EPF has a life insurance cover as well, up to 6 lakh rupees. And a video on that will soon be published. And the fourth account is admin charges. So your EPF money gets distributed to these 4 accounts. First things first, let's start with the eligibility. For NPS, it's a voluntary account. If you want to open one, your age must be between 18 to 65 and NRIs are also allowed. For PF, you don't have to do much. First, you have to get a job in some company where more than 20 employees are already working. So that company will automatically be covered in PF. And your PF wages, which we call basic plus DA, should be less than 15,000. Then your PF account must compulsorily be opened. However, big companies open your PF account even if your PF wages are more than 15,000. But there's one limitation. If your PF wages are more than 15,000 rupees, only your EPF account will be created. No money will go towards your pension account, that is EPS, Employees Pension Scheme. This may change in future because after all, everybody has a right to generate pension, right? Coming to EDLI, if you are covered in PF, you are already covered in EDLI. Now talking about investment or what we call as contribution in EPF. For NPS, the minimum contribution that you have to make in 1 year is 500 rupees and the maximum contribution has no limit. In EPF, things are a bit different. So the first account, which is EPF, 12% of PF wages are deducted from employee's salary and that is known as employee's contribution. 3.67% of employee's salary will also be contributed by employer's own pocket. In EPS, employee doesn't contribute anything. The 8.33% of your PF wages is contributed by employer's own pocket. In EDLI, which is basically the life insurance, the premium is 0.5% of your PF wages, which is also borne by only employer. And same is the case with admin charges. 0.5% of your salary will go to admin charges borne by employer but not employee. So to sum it up, your salary will get a deduction of 12% and the money will go to your EPF account. However, employee also contributes from his own pocket the 13% of your salary. 3.67% goes to PF, 8.33% goes to EPS, meaning pension fund, and 0.5% each will go to EDLI and admin charges. Let's talk about returns. So if you have seen my previous 2 videos of NPS, you must know that NPS is market linked. That means the money that you invest in NPS will go to 4 areas. One of them is stock market. So the returns that it generates will depend on market performance. And if we look at historical data, NPS is giving around 8 to 10% returns. However, you need not be scared of the fact that it's market linked because I've already told you in my NPS video how you can control your investment. You can choose what percentage of your investment must go to equity so that you can save yourself from the market risk. And there are rules as well that are put in place to save you from that market risk. That rules say that as you age, your equity exposure must come down. If you want to know more about how this works, you should definitely check out my NPS video. Now talking about EPF, it's not market dependent. It gives you a fixed pre-decided interest that is revised every year. And for the past 2-3 years, it's staying close to 8.65%, 8.55%. However, this year I'm expecting a big drop in the interest because the economy, well, we all know how bad it is. Now coming to EPS, where your employer from his own pocket contributes 8.33% of your salary. That fund will not get you any interest. So that money is as good as nothing. Let's talk maturity. So when you reach the age of 60, NPS will allow you to withdraw your fund and start your pension. And when you reach the age of 58, EPF will do the same. That means you get to withdraw the fund and start your pension from the EPS account. While most people can't wait to withdraw their funds, there may be some who wish to extend their schemes. So let's talk extension. With PPF, after you reach the age of 60, you have the option to extend your scheme for 10 more years. You can either choose to contribute after 60 or you can just defer it by 10 years so that the total fund continues to get returns in those 10 years, and when you reach 70, you withdraw and you start your pension. With EPF, that extension is only allowed for 2 more years. That is, when you reach the age of 60, you have to withdraw your EPF and you have to start your pension. For pension, again, if you are in a job and your employer is willing to contribute in your pension fund for 2 more years, you can do that, or you can just defer your pension so that you delay your pension for 2 years, and that way you will get 4% per annum extra pension. Talking about fund management, I've told you that money invested in NPS goes to various asset classes, which of course are in your own control. So you have the option to manage your fund. But the same is not available in EPF, neither it is needed because the fund is not market dependent and all you have to worry about is interest. When it comes to tax benefit, both are placed in triple E category. Triple E means exempt, exempt, exempt. The money that you invest in these schemes are eligible for Section 80C tax deduction. The returns that you generate on the fund are also tax free. And finally, when you withdraw your fund, that withdrawal will also be tax free. However, in NPS, when you start receiving monthly pension, that pension amount will not be tax free. So it is exempt, exempt and almost exempt. And NPS has 2 more tax deductions. One I've told you, Section 80C, which is capped at 1.5 lakh rupees. However, on top of that, if you contribute 50,000 more in NPS, you can avail that as a deduction as well under Section 80CCD subsection 1B. Also, if your employer is also contributing to your NPS fund, then you have the option to avail that as a deduction as well. The cap is 10% of your basic plus DA. So yeah, via NPS, you can avail the tax deduction of 2 lakhs or more, but with EPF, you only get the 1.5 lakh benefit under Section 80C. Let's talk premature withdrawals. Well, if it's premature, there are some rules. If your NPS account is 3 years old, you are eligible to withdraw 25% of your own contribution if you have some special reasons to. For example, child's marriage, education, critical illness, etc. This you can do 3 times in your lifetime in a block of 5 years. For PF, premature withdrawal is what we call a withdrawal during job. That is capped at 6 months of your basic salary or total employee's contribution, whichever is lower. And if you go and check for premature withdrawal, you'd have to click on Form 31 PF Advance, and during COVID, government is allowing you to withdraw 75% of your PF fund in the time of distress. And this premature withdrawal should also be backed by some urgent reasons, for example, illness or COVID relief. Coming to EPS withdrawal. So if you have worked for, let's say, 10 years in multiple companies, but your total work duration should be below 10 years, you are allowed to withdraw your EPS fund. So as soon as you complete 9 years and 6 months of your service, that will eventually be rounded up to 10 years, you must remember that this is the last time you are being allowed to withdraw your EPS fund. After that, it will only be used to generate monthly pension for you. Now let's talk about proper withdrawal when you reach the maturity. So in NPS, the maximum lump sum withdrawal that you are allowed to make is 60% of your total fund, and the rest 40% should compulsorily be used to buy annuity from any insurance company that you're seeing on the screen, and that insurance company will pay you some interest on your fund. That interest will be called monthly pension. In most cases, and by default, the annuity means that the fund, that your 40% fund, will not be returned back to you. All you get is a lifetime pension. But if you are willing to sacrifice in your monthly pension, then there are plans available that are offering you the return of purchase price once you die But you won't get that. When you die, your nominee will get that return of purchase price. Again, you are not retiring today. Maybe you retire after 10 years. So the plans may vary and you have to thoroughly check every insurance company's plan at the time of your retirement. Let's talk about EPF withdrawal. There are two ways you can withdraw your EPF money. First is you have to be jobless for 2 months. Then the EPF department will allow you to completely withdraw your EPF fund. And the second is you retire and then you withdraw your complete fund. And I've already told you, if you want to withdraw your EPS fund, that means the pension fund, your total service history should be no longer than 10 years. Expense ratio. Neither EPF nor EPS nor any EPF scheme has an expense ratio. But since the NPS money is going to corporate bonds, government bonds, stock markets, so the money should be managed by some qualified professional that will obviously demand a fee. So the expense ratio here is 0.01%, which is nothing, peanuts. Talking about risk, so NPS goes to stock market as well, so it is market linked, but I would still categorize this as low risk because you can choose to minimize your equity exposure. And in EPF and EPS, in my opinion, there are no risk apart from the drop in interest rate. How can you open an NPS account? You can go to your bank's website, or you can go to your bank, you can go to eNPS website and just fill a small form, make the first transaction, and you will get your PRAN, that is Permanent Retirement Account number. And for EPF and all the EPF accounts, your employer will open the account for you and give you your UAN number. Employer contribution. In NPS, it is voluntary. In EPF, it is compulsory. Before we proceed to the calculation part, let me tell you one thing. Both of these schemes are good for retirement, but these are not good when it comes to building wealth. It's because of the returns that they generate. EPF is giving you around 8.5%, NPS also hovers between 8 to 10%, and when we see mutual funds, they can give 12 to 15%, even higher in some cases. And when we talk about stock market and holding the stocks forever, we can expect a return beyond 20% as well. But all you lack is that first step. If you open a Demat account and buy a 190 rupee SBI share, you won't cry over 190 rupees, I am sure of that. But what it will do is motivate you to watch more and more stock market videos, learn more and more about mutual funds, and finally figure out a way where you can invest some money comfortably and don't lose your sleep over it. In future, I'll also be making some videos on stock markets so that you can learn and you can get motivated. But one thing that you must do today is open a Demat account. I've left you links of Zerodha and Upstocks. Both are India's best brokers. They charge zero brokerage on your equity investment, and I personally use both of them. So I'd recommend you to check out those links, and full disclosure, if you use those links, our channel will get a small kickback, which is necessary to keep it afloat and keep making good videos for you. Now let's talk about pension calculation. So I'd say pension from NPS is significantly higher than pension from EPS. I'll show you in a moment, but let's understand pension from EPS. It is dependent on a formula and it's not dependent on how much money your EPS fund has. That formula says your average salary of last 5 years multiplied by number of service years divided by 70 should be the maximum pension allowed. So first of all, in order to be covered in EPS, your PF wages should not be more than 15,000, and if we assume that it's 15,000 at max, then the average of last 5 years comes to 15,000. This will be multiplied by your service years that cannot exceed 35. So if you have worked for 38 years, you need to put 35. So that way the pension that's computed is not more than 7,500 rupees. Now it's time for example. So see this chart again. Take a look at this chart. I have told you already that employee contributes 12% from his salary, employer contributes 3.67% from his own pocket. So the total money that goes to your EPF account is 15.67%. And the total money that goes to your EPS account is 8.33%, which by the way is not getting any interest. So in my first example, I'll just take the EPF account because that is the money that's getting returns, right? So let's take your salary at maximum, 15,000 rupees. 15.67% of your salary would come to 2350. Let's say you are not contributing this money to your EPF account and you choose to go with NPS. What will happen? So here I have opened NPS calculator. I'll leave you a link in description so you can play around as well. So first I have to enter my date of birth. Then I have to enter the monthly contribution. Here I am typing 2350. Then I have to set my expectation of return. So by default it is at 10%. But let's be a little conservative and leave it at 9%. Then for annuity, the minimum annuity that I need to purchase is 40%. So let's say I am withdrawing 60% and purchasing annuity for 40%. And the annuity rate I am picking is 6%. There are plans available that are offering 5 to 8%, but I am picking 6%. So that way, my total corpus will become 69,65,000 rupees. Out of that, I'll be able to withdraw 41,79,000 rupees, and the 40% money, which comes to 27,86,000 rupees, will be used to buy annuity. And at 6%, it will give me 13,930 rupees of monthly pension. So I've shown you, just by using your EPF fund, you can get a pension just double the EPS. Now come back to the chart again. I've only taken 15.67% of PF wages. Let's take all the 25% of your PF wages and then see what the numbers are. So 25% of your PF wages comes to 3750. That means I'll be contributing 3,750 rupees per month. Rest all details are same, 9% returns, 40% annuity, and the annuity rate is 6%. This will get me the corpus of 1 crore 11 lakhs and 14,000 rupees, out of which I'll be able to withdraw a maximum of 66 lakhs 68,000 rupees, and a mandatory 44 lakh rupees needs to go to annuity, which will then generate me the pension of 22,229 rupees. Now I've shown you that pension that you can get with the same contribution from NPS is 3 times the pension that you are getting in EPS. Now comes the verdict. What should you do? So I am assuming most of my viewers must already be covered in EPF. So there's much to do there because you cannot opt out of EPF. Then the question arises, should you open an NPS account as well because it's giving you better returns? I'd say no, because both are retirement products, both are good, and none of them are wealth creators, as I've said earlier as well. So if you have EPF and have money to invest, I'd say go to mutual funds or stocks. However, if you want to save tax and you have exhausted your section 80C of 1.5 lakh rupees, you can still contribute 50,000 rupees annually in your NPS and claim that as a deduction on top of your section 80C. My job was to make you aware enough so that you can make an informed decision. I'm leaving the links of Demat account in description and hoping to see you again in my next video. Bye.